Hi, my name is Duncan Buchan, and you know about scratch cards, right? Pay £1 or so and you're given a card with a random set of symbols behind scratch-off material. If those symbols correspond with a winning set, you win some form of prize. Well, in the UK, they're run by the National Lottery, who are owned by a company called Camelot. You can tell they're British because they name themselves after an ancient utopian ideal which never actually existed. Over the many gambling opportunities they offer, they really like to boast about their charitable efforts. With various ads talking about how they give 30 million to charity every week, and Camelot's homepage mentioning how 95% of the revenue goes back to winners and society. Their mantra has always been anyone can win, with their scratch cards having names like What's in Your Wallet, £150,000 a month for a year, Monopoly Riches, and Trivial Pursuit. Oh, no. That's just the normal one, isn't it? However, chances are you won't. The kind of gambling the National Lottery likes to promote is, more often than not, most popular among the most vulnerable, with spending on scratch cards being higher in lower income areas, who usually don't see much kickback from the lottery anyway. With the promise that there is money to be won that you'll only get if you enter, scratch cards prey upon the idea of FOMO, giving you just enough to think you might win, but never enough to actually win. It's a gamification of poverty, giving poor people the hope that they might get out of their own situation by letting someone else donate to charity for them, when they'd probably just be better off donating the money themselves. Now, on an unrelated note, let's talk about Mr. Beast, shall we?
This is a journey into money. Loads of money. I know, it's loads of money.
Part 1. Let's talk about Mr. Beast.
Jimmy Donaldson, born May 7, 1998, better known online as Mr. Beast, is an American YouTuber, businessman, and philanthropist. He has been credited with pioneering a genre of YouTube videos that center on expensive stunts. He is also the founder of Mr. Beast Burger and the co-creator of Team Trees, a fundraiser for the Arbor Day Foundation, which has raised over $23 million.
Or at least, that's what Wikipedia says. In the interest of making this more palatable, let's try this again in simpler terms. Mr. Beast is rich. That's his shtick. He started out with smaller challenges that didn't require all that much money, but as he rose in popularity, it became centered around that bank account, giving out amounts of money that most people wouldn't make in a decade. He's what's known as a philanthropist, a rich person who gives their wealth to help the community. He joins the ranks of such lovely people like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, J.K. Rowling, and Pitbull. And you might think, that's redistributing wealth, and I'm a socialist. That's the thing. Groucho would be all over that. Whatever he's doing, it's working out for him. He's got 64.2 million subscribers and routinely gets millions of viewers. I'm a grimy little man, I want a piece of that. So I watched about a year's worth of Mr. Beast content, including but not limited to, I broke into a house and left $50,000. A video where Mr. Beast and his friends break into his father's house, take everything and leave $50,000. YouTube Rewind 2020. Thank God it's over. A video where Mr. Beast and friends celebrate the life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which, fair dues, miss you big girl. I opened my own charity. An actually quite nice video he put on one of his other channels, Beast Philanthropy, about a food bank he's opening and funding, so it's not all bad. Sometimes he puts out some genuinely thoughtful content. I ate the world's largest slice of pizza. A video where Mr. Beast and friends eat a big pizza. It's a really big pizza. Watching these videos, you start to notice patterns falling into place. You have the bigger challenge videos where it's just Mr. Beast and his mates doing wild things, the charity videos where it's him giving out money to good causes, and the smaller compilation videos, which comprise of a bunch of challenges in one, sometimes for charity, sometimes just for the fuck of it. Mr. Beast videos cut through the heart of the proletariat, asking questions I'm sure we've all asked before. What it means to have vast amounts of wealth, how should one use that money, and most importantly, would you rather have a Lamborghini or a house?
Part 2A. Would you rather have a Lamborghini or this house?
This first video is one of the shorter challenge compilation videos. I'm not going to cover all of it because some of it is pretty boring, but I'll go over the cliff notes. We open with the title. The guy ends up picking the house and then gushes over how expensive the house is, saying,
people work their lives for something like this, or don't even get it because of you, and like, so all these awesome people, like, my family has this. Like, I never in a million years would have dreamed.
Mr. Beast, you have to get out there. We don't have the budget to use the sad.mp3 twice in one video. Go, go, go! This next challenge is centered around a McDonald's worker. Mr. Beast says off the record that he's making these challenges really easy to give them more money.
I purposely made this challenge easy because I really want Orlando to win.
And they get more money because they're subscribed to the channel. The point of this video is challenges for subscribers.
So since he's a subscriber, let's make it easy. Okay. 3 steps forward. Okay.
Which just makes me wonder how this worked. Mr. Beast walks into a McDonald's going up to the counter saying, "Oi cunt, you subscribed." What happens if they're not? Ah, fuck lads, this one ain't subscribed. Better luck next time. And then he just fucks off to the D's down the road. The last one I want to mention in this video is a dart game. The further back you throw, the higher amount you get. The person in this case mentions how they will use the money to pay for their medical bills. And this means Mr. Beast can finally play the sad music.
Now before you throw it, what would you spend the 20 grand on if you won?
My kid's college.
Really?
Medical bills.
Medical bills for
Yes.
what?
I had a kidney transplant and
Really?
just got done with colon cancer.
And then the question is, did this guy really have to be subscribed just so you could pay his medical bills? And that's where this video goes from harmless fun to exploitative. YouTube is a hell platform that thrives off the vague term known as engagement, but the ideas that this video puts across are pretty harmful. Like, this guy's medical bills would not have gone away if it wasn't for this, and the video knows this, painting Mr. Beast as a kind, caring man, and not just a guy with a big bank account and more money than he could possibly use. And using that to beg for subs is blatant manipulation. It's the lottery mindset that subscribing gets you the chance to win these incredible prizes, because it clearly worked for all these people, but the chances of you winning are incredibly low. You're just going to be entered into a pot of about 64 million other people with fuck all chance to win. There's nothing wrong with asking for subs because of engagement, but specifically painting it as your life can change if you just subscribe is gross. And what can be more fucked than the exploitation of those less lucky than him? Ah, the homophobia.
Part 2B. The homophobia.
Now, Mr. Beast isn't just a YouTuber, he's a full-on media personality, which means outside of the videos, he's been busy. So in between commentary, I'm gonna talk about various escapades he's been up to. I'd ask if that was okay with you, but the video has already been made, you're stuck with this. Mr. Beast has, let's just say, a storied history of using not so nice language on his socials. Mainly towards queer people. The main ones I've seen people talk about are the queer ones. When questioned about it, Mr. Beast told The Atlantic,
I'm not offensive towards anyone, he said. I'm not offensive in the slightest bit in anything I do. I'm just going to ignore it. I don't think anyone cares about this stuff. He then asked if The Atlantic could simply run a positive article about him, not including his use of slurs.
And I get it. I'm a dumb kid who makes YouTube videos, and oh boy am I glad I never actually made any of the scripts I wrote during my massive edgy phase, but this is just another in the long line of YouTuber apologies that don't actually apologize, and he clearly realized he has no idea how to apologize for homophobia, because when questioned about it again, he said,
When Jimmy was a teenager and was first starting out, he carelessly used, on more than one occasion, a gay slur. Jimmy knows there is no excuse for homophobic rhetoric, He has grown up and matured into someone that doesn't speak like that.
Which, you know what? Good on him. Who hasn't carelessly used on more than one occasion a gay slur? And it really takes a man with good moral character to apologize. Through a representative who's probably on your payroll. In the third person. Okay, it's a little impersonal. But luckily, he did eventually pay for this, as he was tried in a court of law and sentenced to 50 hours of boring YouTube content.
Part 3A. Mr. Beast is sentenced to 50 hours of boring YouTube content.
I'm just fucking with you, Mr. Beast hasn't answered for his crimes. Yet. This video was called I Spent 50 Hours in Prison. It has Mr. Beast and all his friends spending just over 2 days in prison, and the video makes it very clear that they will be treated like actual inmates and that they will go through the mental warfare of being a prisoner.
Just so we're clear, we are going to be treated exactly like inmates, okay? And all around subjected to the mental warfare that is being a prisoner.
It's very easy to see how this could be a bit off color. When did this one come out? June of this year. Just keep an open mind. They get shoved into cells and start with 2 roll calls, one to get names and the other waking them up in the middle of the night. Mr. Beast's friend makes a D's nuts joke on one of the guards, who then says,
"I'll be back for you guys."
Hey, it's him! I'm not doing it! I'm not scared! Come get us! Get him too!
Because haha police brutality. They get 10 minutes to have a shower, which they note that without hot water feels like torture. They then point out that one of the guards has a latex glove, in which the guard responds is for the cavity search, which, okay, we're getting a bit uncomfortable now. And then on the way out of the showers, Mr. Beast drops his bar of soap and, like clockwork, they make a drop the soap joke.
Oh, really?
What is this?
Oh, I dropped the soap. That wasn't on purpose.
I feel like I don't need to do a play-by-play on this one, because at this point, 3 minutes in, you can get the picture. This video, much like a lot of other videos on Mr. Beast's channel, is made specifically for entertainment, which is fine. Not everything has to advance any ideas or morals. Sometimes fun shit is just fun. But the exploitation of the prison experience for some dumb YouTube kid to make a 10-minute video out of is incredibly on display here. Before I continue though, don't worry. Despite being locked up and away from civilization, Mr. Beast is still able to manufacture sadness by showing this guy meeting his baby again after only being locked in prison for 24 hours.
Hey, little man.
Look, there's Daddy.
Oh, I wish I could hold you, buddy.
There's plenty more jokes throughout the video about male sexual assault and the emasculation of men.
I think you should search his butt.
No, not my butt. Let's calm down, boys. Pineapple, that's my safe word. Pineapple.
Have a good night, ladies. I'll see you guys in the morning.
Wake up, ladies.
And multiple jokes about the terrible treatment of inmates in prison.
Good behavior leads to good rec time. Bad behavior leads to this.
I feel like the objective of prison is to make you feel like an animal.
Which also gives me an opportunity to talk about the fucking thumbnail. It was Mr. Beast in a prison cell, covered in bruises, making an incredibly dejected face, with a scratched message behind him reading, "Help me." In his defense, it was changed about a week later to this one, where it's more saturated and he's screaming, but the scratched "Help me" message is still there, and the content of the video remains unchanged. Despite this though, he changed the title to "I survived 50 hours in a maximum security prison," which feels like bullshit. Like, come on bro, this is a room. They even managed to rope in one of Mr. Beast's friends being sent to solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is a bit of mental torture that the prison system has employed quite a lot over the years, and is heavily controversial due to the very real psychological trauma that people can get from having to go through it. Mr. Beast's friend probably experienced none of that, but it's fine because they still make a joke about forgetting about him and leaving him there. Fun! I am definitely not the best person to talk about these issues, and there are plenty of videos from creators of a working schedule and the time and the resources to properly discuss the issues with the prison system. But what I am is a 21-year-old kid who makes YouTube videos in his free time, and I think that gives me enough authority to say that a bunch of rich people role-playing what it is like to be assaulted and bullied by the police with no other intention than diluting the horrors of the prison system into clickbait content for preteens is problematic to say the least. Mr. Beast in this video shows absolutely no empathy towards the prison population, and I can only hope that he shows the people working for him at least a tiny bit more than that.
Part 3b. Mr. Beast does not show the people working for him a tiny bit more than that.
Earlier this year, an article in the New York Times detailed the supposed abuse that Mr. Beast's production team endured while working under him that I want to cover in this video. However, I'm a cheap little bitch, and this article was behind a paywall. Or so I thought. The Chicago Tribune has this article copied verbatim without a paywall, so this is what I will be using as a source. The article goes over a lot of things, including but not limited to his aspirations as a philanthropist and his incredibly weird thing for Elon Musk, which, after doing some further research outside of the article, I have discovered goes incredibly deep.
At Elon Musk, do you listen to music while you work? I whistle. I'm deleting Spotify and learning how to whistle now. Elon Musk replies to Mr. Beast, and fans can't get enough of it. Mr. Beast and Elon Musk are known for their large bank accounts.
Mr. Beast, being such a massive creator, has to have a production team working on the videos so he can make sure he has content out on the regular. He also has multiple current and former businesses such as Mr. Beast YouTube LLC and Mr. Beast Crypto LLC, which, 1, original, and 2, that last one is one of multiple ventures into the crypto market. So it's nice to know the guy who repeatedly boasts about how he helped plant 20 million trees to save the world is completely fine profiting off of a very new market that has a very real chance of making the world burn faster. 11 sources are cited of people who came out against Mr. Beast, including former editors Matt Turner and Nate Anderson. The article says,
Matt Turner, an editor for Donaldson from February 2018 to September 2019, said Donaldson had berated him almost every day. Donaldson often called him by a phrase used to insult people with mental disabilities, Turner said, leaving him in tears. Turner, who did not grow up with Donaldson, said that while his boss regularly featured his hometown friends in videos, he had struggled to get acknowledgement. I was not to be credited for anything I did, Turner said. I'd ask for credit, he'd credit someone else. Nate Anderson, who moved to Greenville to work for Donaldson in March 2018, quit after a week over what he said were unreasonable demands. He said Donaldson was a perfectionist. Nothing ever worked for him, Anderson said. He always wanted it a certain way.
Beast made sure to respond to previous allegations Turner made on the most ethical news source he could think of, Drama Alert with Killer Keemstar. This response doesn't exist anymore outside of a reference on other ethical news source, Mr. Beast's Know Your Meme page, and regarding the other allegations made in the article, Mr. Beast's team declined to comment. This is nothing new here, obviously. My last video was all about forced labour, and while there is a chance that these allegations aren't true, I think it is important to note that, especially with a number of allegations, that in terms of the power dynamics at play here, the people talking about this have much more risk in going against one of the most openly rich people on the platform than Mr. Beast would have in refuting it. However, I should state for posterity that, hey, take this all with a grain of salt. And at least he ain't gambling over minimum wage workers.
Part 4a. Mr. Beast gambles over minimum wage workers.
This video is called Offering People 100k to Quit Their Job, which is a lie. He only offers one person 100k, and at no point in the video do we even get to see a McDonald's, even though the thumbnail has the McDonald's logo on it 4 times. The video opens on that stunt. The person in question is a bit reluctant at first, to which Mr. Beast says,
You can get a different job.
Truly the words of someone who hasn't looked for a job in years. To be fair, he kinda does the same in the next segment, it's just for $10,000 instead of $100,000. And after she refuses, he just gives her the $100,000 anyway, so then we have to question, what if she accepted? Why couldn't you have given both of these people money outright? Why does this person get less than the other person? All good questions that, like any good millionaire, Mr. Beast will not answer. There's also an advertisement for a free competition app to win $100,000, sponsored by one of the millions of phone games that keep getting made and advertised by YouTubers, even though I don't actually think I've seen anyone play them. But now we get to talk about the fucked shit. Mr. Beast and friends order a pizza. One from Domino's, one from Papa John's, and one from Pizza Hut. The driver who gets there first gets 10k. This leads to a wacky game where they all try to sabotage each other. Domino's gets there first, who gives a cut of their tip to Pizza Hut, and they joke about Papa John's not arriving. Hilarity has in fact ensued. This is fucked. Delivery drivers regularly get fucked over quite often, working for minimum wage with the expectancy they'd make more money through tips. They don't all get a tip in the video though. There are so many factors that can decide how fast a delivery driver can make it there. It is so utterly tone deaf, especially when Mr. Beast's friends start acting the prick and trying to make the other orders take longer. This is rich people betting real money on minimum wage workers. This is a guy trying his best to, instead of actually just donating to charity or giving money to people who need it, make fun games out of that. It is quite literally the gamification of poverty. In a Tom Scott video earlier this year about randomly generated titles, Mr. Beast showed up and his section makes it really clear how he comes up with these ideas.
A perfect idea is an idea that is clickable, but also highly, highly entertaining throughout the entire video. Like, it has to be a really entertaining video at that length while still being clickable. That is a perfect idea.
Okay, so I've just noticed this while editing. But does this motherfucker really have a wall scroll of Elon Musk and a giant canvas print of a Steve Jobs quote on his wall? What the fuck?
It's hard to give the benefit of the doubt on Mr. Beast wanting to change the world when so much of his content is bottom barrel scraping clickbait bollocks. It exploits the real issues the people in his videos are going through, and it's disgusting. The only thing that could make it worse was if he was, I don't know, funding eugenics.
Part 4B. Mr. Beast is funding eugenics.
Jesus fucking Christ, Mr. Beast. Hold on.
Hello?
Hey, Mom.
Hey.
What would you do if I, like, funded eugenics?
If you funded eugenics?
Yeah, what would you do if I funded eugenics?
What's eugenics?
It's like a gene, like, getting people out of the gene pool.
Oh, no, that's not good.
But
So
it's for charity, though.
So people want to change humans for charity?
Yeah.
No, that's not a good idea.
Alright, that's all. Thanks.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Part 4B. Mr. Beast is funding a terrible autism charity.
In April of 2021, Mark Rober released a video called The Truth About My Son. It's a fairly lovely video that just goes over what it's like to be the parent of an autistic child, and I can't really knock it because I'm not in any authority to do so, being neurotypical. What I can knock is Color the Spectrum, an event Rober and Jimmy Kimmel ran alongside an organization called Next for Autism. A lot of high-profile names were attached to raise money for the charity, including Conan O'Brien, Jack Black, and Mr. Beast. Putting it lightly, Next for Autism is a terrible organization. They've worked directly with Autism Speaks. They openly support a type of behavioral therapy known as ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis, a type of therapy geared towards hiding autistic traits to try and pass as neurotypical. They also directly support the Center for Autism and the Developing Brain, a group who, and I quote, conducts research that enhances the understanding and treatment of autism spectrum disorder. The page stating this was changed very recently, as it used to also state prevention on top of that. Trying to train and take away traits from a group is eugenics. Like, dictionary definition of eugenics. Carl Jacobs, one of Mr. Beast's friends, pulled out of the event after he heard how harmful Next for Autism are. Mr. Beast, however, still showed up. He's a big part of the event as well, appearing in the thumbnail, having his own segment, and also being the top donor of $25,000. That's not a small amount of money. That's more money than I will make in 2 years. All of this information about how harmful of an organization this is out there, on top of others dropping out of the event because of this information. He made a conscious decision to take part in, put his name on, and donate a large sum of money to the event. This is beyond negligence. This is a conscious decision to stay ignorant and use the massive power he has as a creator to support this awful organization. It sends a terrible message to everyone who looks up to him. Someone with that amount of money and power should not be making mistakes like this. Everything I've talked about put together once again raises questions. How much thought goes into where the money goes? How much of the videos are produced to solely get clicks and engagement from people who don't know any better? How much of the philanthropy, the persona, the content is just performative to make the people running the show look good? And that, dear viewers, comrades, and anyone else who's decided to stop by today, is the nightmare of clickbait charity. Mr. Beast is still rich. There is no changing that, there is no stopping that. He's a white guy living in America. He got insanely lucky investing in cryptocurrencies, and God knows what else rich people do to amass terrifying sums of wealth. It's his shtick, having more money than sense to throw around at anything. Does that mean Mr. Beast can't do good? I don't think so. His Beast Philanthropy channel is nice, where all the proceeds go towards a food bank. The best video I watched of the bunch was giving $1 million of food to people in need. Sure, it's got his friends goofing off and trying to be funny, but it's also a video that earnestly tries to tell people the benefits of donating to a food bank. And he really does give $1 million worth of food away. This isn't a black or white thing. I'm not trying to say Mr. Beast is an awful person, but it is absolutely undeniable that he makes manipulative content that exploits impoverished people and their struggles for fame and views that just end up getting funneled back to a positive image for Mr. Beast. And he's okay with shilling bargain bin mobile games with his brand shoved in, or data harvesting browser add-ons, or plugging his merch in the middle of these videos. Selling your new hoodies for 47 British pounds, or 4 easy payments of $11.75 with Sezzle might help people with the profits, but it also goes towards harvesting clicks from their suffering. I don't think more people should be like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast isn't proof that rich people can be good or generous or are worth keeping around for the help they bring to the community. Mr. Beast is proof that in a system that allows a single person to amass more wealth than anyone could ever need, you can very easily market generosity and the image of helping out those in need for financial and social gain. It is exactly what the lottery does and gets away with. It is very easy to dodge the question of exploitation when you position yourself as a force for good and a paragon of generosity. Mr. Beast is not an exception to the rule. Mr. Beast is proof that anyone with that amount of wealth should not be trusted. Mr. Beast is the system working as intended. And if Mr. Beast is watching this for whatever reason, I would like to let him know that I am looking for work. That's right, I have many skills. I can edit with Premiere Pro, I'm fine appearing in front of the camera, I'm quite small, I can fit into crevices, I'm like a rat.
Hey, it's me, Duncan. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this stuff and want to see more, subscribe, tell your friends about it, comment, like, do whatever. If you want to follow me elsewhere, I'm on Twitter at always but on Dunc, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.